This video is going to cover what we did in class today, which was evaluating functions. It's going to be helpful if you're struggling at all with your Delta Math homework assignment. So our goals are to review how we can evaluate functions represented algebraically and graphically, and how we can practice using the calculator to help us with some of this. So the first problem I want to look at is this. Given f of x equals negative x squared minus 9x plus 3, find f of negative 3. So I want to start by reminding you that negative 3 is our x value. So if I want to find f of negative 3, I'm going to go into my problem, and anywhere there's an x, I'm going to put parentheses. So I just replaced this x with parentheses and this x with parentheses. Then what I can do is plug in the x value they give me. Now, I'm going to show you how we can do this using order of operations without the calculator. But I will tell you, this is a problem that a lot of people miss. There's a lot of areas where you can make a mistake. So order of operations, if we think back to PEMDAS, we've got to do parentheses first, but there's no operations inside the parentheses. Then we have to do exponents. So the first exponent I see is right here. And it's important to note that only what is directly below the exponent is part of it. So this negative out front is not part of the squared. So I'm going to carry that down. Negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So negative 3 squared becomes 9. And remember, this negative is carried down from what was in front of the x squared. Then I've got minus 9 times negative 3 plus 3. Next thing I have to take care of, I did my exponents. I've got to do multiplication and division, whatever comes first, left to right. So I notice there's multiplication right here. So I'm going to carry everything else down. When you think of multiplying this, I know this is a minus sign, but it makes this 9 negative. So negative 9 times negative 3 is positive 27. And now my last step is to add and subtract whatever comes first, left to right. So negative 9 plus 27 is 18. 18 plus 3 is 21. So I believe f of negative 3 is 21. To confirm that using the calculator, I'm going to go ahead and take negative 3. Actually, let's do this. Home button, open a new document, add the calculator. I'm going to go negative 3, store as x. And now I'm going to type in my original function exactly as I see it. Negative x squared minus 9x plus 3. And if I hit enter, I get that it is 21. Okay, let's do the next one. I'll go ahead and do it algebraically, and then we'll go ahead and just confirm it in the calculator. So f of negative 7. 3 times x squared minus 4 times x minus 8. What goes in those parentheses is the x value that I've got here. So negative 7. Order of operations, I've got to do my exponent first. So this becomes 3 times negative 7 squared is negative 7 times negative 7. That is 49. Minus 4 times negative 7 minus 8. Now I've got to take care of multiplication and division. 3 times 50 is 150. So then take away 49 is 1 less. So I think it should be 147. Let's double check that. Yeah. Negative 4 times negative 7 is 28, and it's positive. And now I've got to go left to right, or I can enter this all into my calculator. So 147 plus 28 minus 8 gives me 167. Okay. How could I check this in the calculator? Again, this is -7. I'm storing it as X. Whoops. And I'll type in my function 3x squared minus 4x minus 8 equals 167. The next type of problem we're going to see is we're going to have to compare two functions, okay? So I'm given a function f of x, and I'm given a function g of x, and they want to know which of the following is true. Well, all of these are involving f of 4 and g of 4. So I'm going to figure out what f of 4 is, and then what g of 4 is, and then I'll compare them. So I'm going to start by taking 4, and I'm going to store it as x. Oh, I keep missing the x button. There we go. So now I'll type in f of x. It's 2x squared. Enter. And I get that that is 32. G of 4. I'm still keeping 4 as x, but now my function is different. So if you want, you can go ahead and store 4 as x again. And now I'm going to type in my g of x function, which is 2 times 2. And then this is to the x power. The way that we get that is we do a caret, and then we hit the x button. And what I end up with is g of 4 is also 32. So when I look at these, which choice works? Well, it's this one up here. F of 4 is the same as g of 4. Sometimes one might be smaller, sometimes one might be bigger. Okay, given f of x equals -3x minus 1, solve for x when f of x is -10. So f of x is -10, which means I'm going to take that -10 and replace f of x with it. And now I can just solve this equation. So I used my addition property of equality here to add 1 to both sides. To get x alone, it's -3 times x. So I'm going to divide both sides by -3. That's my division property of equality. And I get that x equals 3. Okay, last type of problem. I wanted to compare and contrast these two. You can see a graph, and depending on what they ask you, they might be looking for the input or the output. So the first problem says find f of -6. If it's inside the parentheses, that is your input or your x value. So x is -6 right here. If I want to know the value of my function, I've got to look up and down and see where the function is. Well, the function is right here. The coordinates of that point are -6, -2. So if I want to know what f of -6 is, well, it's the output or the y value when the x value is -6. So f of -6 is -2. The difference is here it says find all values of x where f of x equals -2. So now I'm told my output or my y value is -2. So here's where y is -2, and I'm going to look side to side to see where the point on the graph is. This point is 1, -2. So when is f of x equal to -2? It's equal to -2 when x equals 1. So let's just quickly review what our goals were. We wanted to review how we can evaluate functions represented algebraically and graphically. We did that. And then practice using the calculator. So hopefully this will help you if you're stuck at all on your Delta math. I will see you on Thursday.